Well, we're looking at a major shift that may be coming to India's digital ecosystem, one that could quietly redefine how content is controlled on your social media feed. Right now, if the government wants a post, video or account taken down, that power sits largely with one nodal authority under Section 69A of the IT Act, the Ministry of Electronics and IT. It's a centralized system, at least on paper, but that may soon change. The centre is now considering a move to expand this power across multiple ministries, including Home, Defence, External Affairs and Information and Broadcasting. In simple terms, this now means that instead of one gatekeeper, several arms of the government could directly order content to be blocked. And this is not a small tweak. It could fundamentally alter how platforms like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube respond to government requests, potentially receiving takedown orders from multiple directions at once. Now, why is the government considering this now? The answer lies in the rapid rise of AI-generated content, deepfakes, manipulated videos and misleading information that can spread much faster than fact-checkers can keep up with. From fake war footage to financial scams pushed by influencers, the argument is that misinformation today is not just a nuisance there, it can be a national security threat. There's also a regulatory angle here. Bodies like the Securities and Exchange Board of India have long raised concerns about misleading financial advice being given online. The so-called finfluencer problem here that seems to be growing. Giving such regulators direct takedown powers now could make enforcement faster and more targeted. But as the government argues, speed and security critiques are asking a different question. What happens to freedom of speech? Because Section 69A orders are not public yet. They are confidential. There is limited transparency and often no immediate judicial oversight. Expanding this power to multiple ministries raises fears of overreach, inconsistency and potential misuse. With different ministries interpreting harmful content differently, could this be a dangerous trend now, with 3 ministries trying to govern and monitor our social media platforms? If content is taken down, who holds the decision makers accountable? What kind of content can be taken down? Basically, is there any structure to that? Supporters say this is a necessary upgrade for a digital age where misinformation can destabilize markets, trigger panic, or even impact national security. But critics, on the other hand, warn that this could lead to a fragmented censorship system where more authorities mean more chances of excessive control and a chilling effect on free expression. Ultimately, this is not just about regulation, it's about power. In the battle between security and freedom of speech, where do you really draw the line? Can you draw the line? Pawan Dugal, Advocate Supreme Court and Chief Executive Artificial Intelligence Law Hub. Also Kanish Gaur, Digital Technology Expert. Thanks very much, both of you. Pawan Dugal, to you first on 3 ministries now going to be governing our social media platforms. Was this necessary?
I don't think it was necessary for the very simple reason that this particular nomenclature blocking has been given under Section 69A of the Information Technology Act by virtue of the amendments in 2008. Now, from 2008 to 2026, the system has worked absolutely fine. Which
I'm going to cut you short. We are fixing your connection. We can't really see you. Your frame has frozen. I'm going to bring in Kanish Gaur in the meanwhile. Kanish, please go on.
Today, with rapid use of digital media, use of deepfake, misinformation, national security is at risk. And we are seeing a lot of fake trends being populated from across the border, whether it is coming from Pakistan or China, which deeply impacts India's international positioning and safety and security. A lot of times, public law and order also gets impacted because of fake trends populating on social media. So I believe it's a good move by government to bring in powers for Ministry of External Affairs and for Ministry of Home. Otherwise, what used to happen, these ministries used to reach out to Ministry of Electronics and a lot of time was lost. And this time lost could really impact the sentiment on ground, could create physical conflicts on ground. And it's important that you have wider participation from multiple ministries so they understand. A lot of times you will see fake news impacting Indian Army, Indian Air Force, whether it comes to India putting out safety measures for its citizens internationally. And we are seeing, particularly today with the current Iran, Israel, and US war happening, there are a lot of questions around safety and security, and people do use social media as a mechanism. And a lot of times, fake content or misleading content leads to impact. And it is not just impact on people; it is impact on India's reputation. So I believe this is a great move, and I believe you need a larger law, not just look at from a only from a Minister of Electronics standpoint. But I think how do you ensure there is no overreach of powers? That's really the key ask. Under what sections of the Indian IT Act or the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita this would be implemented on ground is really something that I would look forward to. But giving a wider outreach to various ministries, whether it is MEA, whether it's Ministry of Home, or even if they want to include MOD, I believe it will be a welcome step.
Mr. Pavan Duggal, are you with us? All right,
Yeah,
we
I'm
seem
there.
to. All right, we're going to try and get his connection back. But Kanish, it's still a little baffling to see that 3 ministries are going to take control of this, which means the freedom of expression and speech could be threatened. And already you have enough allegations that you have the government trying to poke its nose into content online. This was something that Elon Musk tried to flag. Now, we don't know how far that is true, but Elon Musk had said that there have been requests from the government to pull down a lot of accounts or pull down a lot of posts, and without proper justification to that. So with allegations like that, do you believe this is in the right direction still? Your audio is out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there always need to be a balance that needs to be struck.
Now,
And
who
that's why you
strikes that
need,
balance? You can't. We have no control over the government. The government has control over us.
but you need to create more laws, norms, which are acceptable. So if you look at the current section of the Indian IT Act, you will have to make provisions to include other ministries into it. Currently, the power is only with the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. So a larger law which would look at these safeguards. There should also be an element where citizens can report any kind of deep fake or fake news or misinformation. Why always go up to a nodal agency? So if you make more changes in the platforms where there are more trusted flaggers, more trust and safety partners who could do the job. It could be civil society. If you loop in civil society, that could be a fantastic move. Or you could have citizen mechanism set in, then it eases things out. But today, everything to be just dependent on one ministry for 1.4 billion people, where the ministry itself is short on staff. We saw that during the AI summit. So you need more trusted flaggers. Or either you bring in civil society or you need to basically get in more ministries. Otherwise, just relying on one ministry to take down, issue notices, I don't think so. These platforms really respond. Does X respond? When it came to Grok, how long it took for X to respond to it? They don't even have proper teams in India for responding. All they have is a set of lawyers. So let's look at accountability on both sides. If we are looking at talking about big tech platforms, do they have sufficient teams in? Do they have full-time people who are following the significant social media intermediary guidelines to report to the government? All they have is third-party lawyers today, which do the job for them. So you need better accountability from these platforms when they talk about freedom of expression and speech.
Mr. Duggal, your take, what's your belief on 3 ministries doing the right job, and this is more about filtering fake, dubious content and less about control?
Well, let me begin by first clarifying that the Information Technology Amendment Act 2008 gave the power to the central government that it can come up with appropriate relevant nodal officers for the purposes of ensuring blocking of content. Now, as for the allocation of rules of business, it's very, very clear that the concerned ministry is the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Now the proposal is to extend this to other ministries as well, thereby giving more ministries more power to block down content. Now that I think is not necessarily the best way forward. Why? Because the existing model has worked wonderfully well from 2008 to 2026. So 18 years, we haven't had a major problem. Suddenly you want to put this power to various other ministries. There's going to be an intrinsic problem. Why? Because the law was never really drafted keeping in mind that this power is going to be exercised by different ministries. Further, there are going to be no harmonious, uniform approaches. There are going to be divergence of thought processes. More importantly, there are not going to be appropriate checks and balances. Already, we have seen that now with the Information Technology Act under the ITUs 2021, giving the power both to the Ministry of Electronics IT and the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, we've been seeing a divergence of opinion, of thought process, of the approaches of how to handle with these scenarios. I believe there's a need for ensuring that at no point of time should these kind of activities go ahead and prejudicially impact the people's rights, fundamental rights given under the Constitution of India, including the right to freedom of speech and expression. Right to blocking is a very serious right, and that can only be exercised in the limited circumstances which are given under Section 69A of the IT Act. Now, how will different other ministries be very well qualified to determine what will be constituting the interest of sovereignty, security, integrity of India, public relations, or for the purposes of preventing the commission of any cognizable offense? Now, clearly, there's a huge kind of a disconnect. Now, this is being proposed. I believe that this kind of an approach could potentially be legally challenged in the court of law, and rightfully so, because when you look at the objectives and the statement of objectives of the Information Technology Amendment Act 2008, it was never the objective that this is going to be given to a large number of other ministries. And now that this is being sought to be brought forward, I think there should be more legal homework, there should be more adequate preparation, and there should be appropriate nod from the Parliament before you start doing this, because then this kind of an approach would always be seen as an excessive use of power, could be seen as an abuse or misuse of the process of law, and ultimately could be challenged in the court of law.
Right. Well, that's we're hoping to see what the guidelines really outline, and until then, this is all we can delve into. I really appreciate both of you for joining us on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.